I'm here with Mr. Jeff Evans, meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service in Houston-Galveston, Chief Lori Christensen, our Harris County Fire Marshal, Mr. Chateau Woodward Sr., the business agent with the local Plumbers Union, and Mark Sloan, Harris County Homeland Security and Emergency Management Coordinator. We have a big weekend ahead. Today the Texans play the Browns. Go Texans. Tomorrow is the Houston Marathon. I'll see some of you guys there. And Monday's MLK Day. On top of that, we have a hard freeze coming our way, and we have to prepare for that. That doesn't mean we can't enjoy our weekend, it just means we have to prepare. I know that a lot of people are anxious about the next few days, especially when it comes to the grid. I was there also. We're all still a little bit scared, with good reason, based on what happened in 2021. More than 90% of us lost power. 65% of us experienced water outages because of the lost power during the 2021 winter storm. We all remember that time. But a lot of us don't even remember the December freeze on Christmas Eve 2022. Yes, there was a freeze in 2022 December, and that's because everything went largely according to plan. We had a few pipes freeze and break, but nothing of a scale that caused or required a reaction from government. So let's hope and work together so that this time it's more like December 2022 than like 2021. The next few days will not be as bad as the winter storm in 2021, as Winter Storm Uri. That winter storm included a lot of low probability events that all happened at the same time: low temperatures, precipitation, many power plants offline. The low temperatures were very consistent. Even in 2022, it was the holiday season. People were anxious because they were out of town, or they were going to be out of town. This year, Monday's a holiday. People are not out of town as much. We have very limited precipitation in the forecast. ERCOT and the state have done a lot of work. And I don't have so much heartburn about our critical infrastructure this time around. Back then, in 2021, I said this is going to be like a Category 5 hurricane, and we were sitting upstairs making plans, bracing ourselves. This time we are making the plans, but we don't have that heartburn that we had in 2021. I just spoke with CenterPoint Executive Vice President and with ERCOT's Chief Operating Officer. They assured me that our situation has improved since 2021 and even since 2022. That doesn't mean there is a zero risk of outages. Monday morning, before the sun comes up, we will have a peak in energy needs. It's going to be pretty cold all throughout the county. There will be an even bigger peak the next morning, Tuesday morning. Very cold weather. So we know when the tough times are going to be. There will be smaller peaks in energy consumption in the evenings. Those times, those mornings and those evenings, the supply and the demand of energy will be pretty tight. And the public can actually see that on the ERCOT website. So there won't be much room for anything to go wrong. So if there's a generation break for whatever reason, if the wind doesn't blow as hard as they forecast, there may be rotating outages. But ERCOT, as they assured me, have done work to have additional winterization, additional generation, batteries that can store some of the generation, and the ability to pay big industrial customers to go offline, and the ability to get more generation online. We also, our team, CenterPoint, we all have better communication now with ERCOT, which was not the case back then. CenterPoint now has backup generators themselves that can ensure that nobody is without power for too long. Anyway, that is their goal. So hopefully we don't end up in a situation of rotating outages, but if we do, these entities assured me they have planned for the rotating outages to be short. If ERCOT gets to the point of calling for conservation, and the COO told me is quite likely, the conservation will be between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. on those days. Those are important recommendations to please heed. It doesn't mean you have to make yourself completely uncomfortable, right? Just close your blinds, close your curtains. That keeps the heat in. Turn down your thermostat a degree or two. These things make a big difference when there's hundreds of thousands of people doing them. Now, the most important thing to know is that today, this afternoon, is the time to prepare. You should be prepared by this evening. Tomorrow it will be cold, it will be windy, and so you want to be prepared before then. We'll start to see temperatures start dropping tonight and into tomorrow morning. If you're heading to the marathon, remember to be aware of the weather and how you're going to feel when you're done running. Over time, Monday, Tuesday, as I mentioned, will be colder. Even though we're not expecting a worst case scenario, we are preparing. Our Office of Emergency Management will formally activate on Monday, but obviously we're here working. In the meantime, we're all hands on deck. My team's been in touch with all of our relevant stakeholders, TxDOT, Metro, the Toll Road Authority, Sheriff's Office, City of Houston, you name it, including police and fire, county commissioners. Our partners are taking appropriate precautions on exposed surfaces, bridges, toll road flyovers. They're monitoring any icy conditions within the system. But the fact that the precipitation will not be as much as it has been in the past will help us with those concerns, with those transportation concerns. On schools, we've touched base with our school districts. The school district region, our region's Region 4, is doing a call with superintendents on Monday afternoon. And at that point, they will be making a determination on schools for Tuesday. Obviously, Monday is the MLK holiday. So the issue is not because of a concern for lack of power necessarily, but because of the cold weather conditions. There's going to be coldest of this entire few days on Tuesday morning. And so the concerns about the children, waiting for a school bus out in the cold. We've spoken to all our cities. They're ready to go. We've communicated with the state. Warming centers. And I'm not sure if they're on here. Is carbon monoxide. Well, you can go to readyharris.org, and there's a map with our warming centers. There are right now 12 identified warming centers between the City of Houston, Harris County, and our partners, and we're very grateful to all of our partners. We have them all throughout the county, and they were selected using a data-driven approach about concentration of the homeless population. These warming centers are a partnership, so the hours vary by location. Some allow pets. The food situation is different at each, and so right now I know Acres Homes Multi-Service Center, Downtown Recovery Center, Denver Harbor Multi-Service Center, Fawn Community Service Center, Metropolitan Multi-Service Center, Sunnyside Health and Multi-Service Center, Magnolia Multi-Service Center, Bayland Community Center, Lakewood Church, and Ailey Family YMCA. They will be accepting pets. Greenhouse International Church welcomes pets if they're in kennels, and Reflection of Christ Kingdom Church, as of right now, they will not be accepting pets. They will have, some may provide food, others are not set up to do that. So the hours generally from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Monday through Tuesday, Tuesday through Wednesday. There's one that will be open until 24/7. So just check online, readyharris.org, or call 311. In the City of Houston or anywhere in Harris County, you can call 311 and request information about the warming centers. So I invite people to do that. We need everybody's help. So here's what you can do. I want to mention also on the homeless population, the Sheriff's Office Homeless Outreach Team, the Coalition for the Homeless, and our partners have been out there visiting with the homeless population, informing them of the weather, making sure that they know they can come to these warming centers, and of course they cannot forcibly remove anybody, but they can pass out blankets if folks do not want to go to a warming center. So here's what you can do, the 4 Ps. We're all talking about the 4 Ps, and but that's because they're important, and it's the easiest way to remember. So people, make sure you and your loved ones dress warmly if you go outside. It's a beautiful day. We're gonna have a little bit of clouds eventually, which is actually better for the weather staying a little warmer. But look, you can go outside, you can go to the grocery store, you can drive, you can visit family, neighbors. But just make sure that you're wearing the right clothes and that you check on folks who live alone, elderly that may live around you. This is the chance to wear the one winter coat we all have. The pets, the second P, bring all your pets inside. It's too cold for them out there right now. Plants, or it will be potted plants, bring them inside. For outdoor plants, water them and cover them with cloth fabric. Pipes. When it comes to pipes, it's a case by case, but that doesn't mean it's complicated. Each water provider knows their system best, which is why our major recommendation is to follow the advice of your utility provider. whether that be your municipal utility district, your MUD, or your city. You can find who it is in your water bill and also how to contact them. So if you live in the city of Houston, the recommendation is to not drip your pipes, because if you drip your pipes, according to them, that affects the water pressure, which could then lead for water to be cut off. If you live outside the city of Houston, you receive water from someone other than the city of Houston, please check with them, and Mr. Woodard will provide additional information on the pipes. This is the chance to make sure you've taken steps to prepare your home, and that's why Chief Christensen is also here. This is the time today to find your generator, so you don't have to move it and you're not wondering where you're going to put it. Don't put it in your garage. Don't put it in an awning where you're going to be at risk for carbon monoxide poisoning, and so we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Other than that, the best thing you can do is stay aware of the local news. Sign up for Ready Harris alerts. ReadyHarris.org. Above all, be careful, wear layers, be alert, and help us help your neighbors by using our government resources appropriately. And so that's what these screens on 311, 911, and 211 are about. If you have questions about Harris County services, for example, you need a warming center, please do not call 911. 911 is only for life-threatening emergencies. Instead, call 311. Of course, an instance of carbon monoxide poisoning, for example, which we're going to talk about, I want to make sure people look at this because it happened extensively in 2021, and folks were not as informed about the risk as we really could have been, and so I want to make sure everybody knows about the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. That's where you would call 911. So we've been through a lot of weather emergencies in Harris County. We have the muscle memory. We sure have the resiliency. We are as prepared as we can be as government right now. We need each one of us to take the personal responsibility to do our part as well. We will be seeing temperatures that are out of the ordinary for us, for the entire state of Texas. All of us are on the same grid. This is not another Uri, but it is something to take seriously. It is something we can handle as long as we work together. And so I'm going to be off to cheer on the Texans. I'm looking forward to a win today. But first, let me repeat my remarks in Spanish and pass it on to my colleagues. Tenemos hoy día, bueno, este fin de semana, un fin de semana importante. Hoy el juego de fútbol americano, los Texans contra los Browns. Y luego mañana la maratón, ahí estaré. Y bueno, el lunes el día de MLK. Además, no se nos puede olvidar que también viene una helada. Muchos estamos todavía traumatizados con la helada del 2021. En ese entonces, febrero del 2021, quedamos 65% de nosotros sin agua debido a cortes de energía. Más del 90% de nosotros perdimos electricidad, quedamos sin electricidad. Todos recordamos aquella vez, pero muchos de nosotros no recordamos la helada en Navidad del 2022. Sí, hubo una helada diciembre del 2022 y se nos olvidó porque todo salió de acuerdo al plan, salió muy bien. Entonces espero que el clima, la helada que viene, se parezca más a la del 2022 que la del 2021. Para ser muy clara, los días que vienen no van a ser iguales a los de la helada Uri del 2021. Aquella vez, muchos eventos de baja probabilidad sucedieron al mismo tiempo. Temperaturas muy bajas consistentemente. Realmente esas temperaturas no subieron para que se pudiera derretir la nieve y el hielo. Hubo precipitación, muchas centrales eléctricas fuera de servicio. Ese no es el caso hoy día. Bueno, el 2022 fue temporada de vacaciones. Este año, lunes, es feriado, el pronóstico de precipitación muy limitado, lo cual significa que las carreteras serán seguras generalmente. La red eléctrica del Estado ha mejorado, el Estado ha trabajado para climatizar la red. He acabado de terminar una llamada con el vicepresidente ejecutivo de Centerpoint y también con el agente, con el líder de operaciones de ERCOT. Ellos manejan la red estatal. Ambos me han asegurado que la situación ha mejorado desde el 2021, inclusive desde el 2022. Eso no significa que haya cero riesgo de apagones. El lunes por la mañana, antes de que salga el sol, vamos a ver una demanda adicional en cuanto a la energía, porque va a haber mucho frío, vamos a tener prendido nosotros el aire acondicionado, el calentador. La siguiente mañana, el martes por la mañana, todavía más frío, más requerimientos energéticos. Ambas noches, tanto lunes como martes por la noche, también vamos a ver esa demanda de energía adicional. Entonces, en esos tiempos la oferta y la demanda de energía van a estar bastante ajustadas. Todo eso se puede ver en la página web de ERCOT. ¿Qué significa eso? Que si hubiera cualquier tipo de problema que no tengamos en mente, de repente la producción se detenga o de repente el viento no sea tan fuerte como se esperaba para las turbinas de viento, es posible que hayan cortes de energía programados. ERCOT ha trabajado para ver más preparaciones en cuanto al invierno, en cuanto a generación adicional. Tienen ellos hoy día baterías que pueden almacenar parte de la generación. Tienen la capacidad de pagarle a los clientes grandes, clientes industriales, para que se desconecten. Tienen la oportunidad de poner más generación en servicio. CenterPoint también tiene generación independiente que ellos pueden producir para poder regresar y reanudar el servicio a clientes que se hayan quedado sin electricidad. Entonces, lo que me informan ambos señores es posible que hayan apagones, pero han trabajado mucho porque esos apagones sean de corto plazo y esperemos que no hayan apagones. Eso sí, es posible que pidan reducir el consumo de electricidad. Eso lo van a pedir mañana o pasado. Entonces sería entre las 8 p.m. y las 6 de la mañana. Significa no necesariamente estar incómodos totalmente, pero cerrar las cortinas. Eso ayuda a conservar el calor. Bajar un poco el termostato, 1 o 2 grados. Si cientos de miles de nosotros hacemos eso, todos vamos a poder conservar electricidad y es menos probable que hayan apagones. Entonces, hoy día lo más importante es prepararnos. Por favor, prepárense hoy. Mañana ya va a estar haciendo bastante frío, bastante viento, entonces idealmente preparémonos el día de hoy. El martes es el día más crítico. ¿Qué estamos haciendo nosotros? Estamos trabajando también, no esperamos el peor de los casos, pero aquí estamos todas las manos a la obra. Hemos coordinado ya con Metro, con la Autoridad de Autopistas del Condado, con la Autoridad de Autopistas del Estado, la Oficina del Alguacil, de Policía, la ciudad, todos trabajando juntos. Ellos están monitoreando cualquier condición de hielo dentro del sistema. En cuanto a las escuelas, hemos hablado ya con nuestros distritos escolares. La región estatal de distritos escolares aquí es la región 4. Ellos van a tener una llamada el lunes por la tarde a las 4 de la tarde. En ese momento van a definir si las escuelas estarán recibiendo a los niños el martes o no. El lunes, como sabemos, es feriado, pero el martes, bueno, todavía no sabemos si van a estudiar los niños o no. ¿Por qué? No tanto por el riesgo de apagones, el cual es leve, sino por el frío. De pronto va a ser demasiado frío, no queremos que los niños estén esperando el bus afuera en ese frío. En cuanto, bueno, nuestras ciudades, 34 ciudades, estamos en comunicaciones con ellas, estamos en comunicación con el Estado. Centros de calentamientos para la población sin hogar. Estos centros tenemos 12, 10 de los 12 reciben mascotas, hay uno que solo recibe el Greenhouse International Church, recibe mascotas solo si están en kennels. Algunos de ellos de repente van a ofrecer comida, entonces si necesita un centro de calentamiento, vaya a readyharris.org o llame al 311 de cualquier parte de la ciudad de Houston o el condado Harris puede llamar al 311 o visitar readyharris.org, ahí está el mapa de los centros de calentamiento, los hemos trabajado con la ciudad y con nuestros colegas, incluyendo los comisionados del condado. ¿Qué debe hacer usted? de su parte. Nosotros como gobierno estamos trabajando, pero como individuos también tenemos que hacer nuestro trabajo. Entonces son las 4 P's, bueno, en inglés. La P, people, personas, abríguense. La mejor defensa es un buen ataque. Entonces no hay razón por la cual no salir, salgamos, disfrutemos del juego, de la maratón, pero vistámonos adecuadamente ese momento de sacar esa chaqueta de invierno que nunca nos la podemos poner. La segunda P son los pets, entonces las mascotas. Ahí va a ser demasiado frío para nuestras mascotas, por favor, traerlas adentro, cuidar esas criaturas. La tercera P, las plantas. Cualquier plantas en macetas, tráiganlas adentro. Las otras plantas, rociarlas y cubrirlas con tela. Y finalmente la última P son pipes. Las pipes, las tuberías. Aquí está el señor Chateau Woodward, él va a hablar acerca del plan para las tuberías, pero lo básico es que cada proveedor del servicio del agua va a tener recomendaciones diferentes. Entonces el proveedor en la ciudad, por ejemplo, dice que no goteen las tuberías, porque si gotean las tuberías baja la presión del agua en la ciudad y les toca cortar el agua. Si reciben el agua de un distrito de utilidades municipales, de un MUD o de otra ciudad, otro proveedor, llamen y averigüen cuál es la recomendación. Entonces pueden ver quién es su proveedor en su bill de agua, su recibo de agua, y pues ahí van a poder contestar. Es la última oportunidad para cuidar a su hogar, especialmente los generadores. En 2021 tuvimos muchas personas, especialmente la comunidad latina, con intoxicación por monóxido de carbono. Entonces, por favor, recuerden que es un riesgo. Si tienen generador, hoy día es el momento de ponerlo en un sitio adecuado, no adentro, no dentro del garaje, no debajo de un techito donde ese monóxido de carbono puede entrar a la casa. Y bueno, mantenerse al tanto del clima, tengan cuidado, regístrense para recibir alertas de Ready Harris, visiten readyharris.org y por favor atentos a las noticias locales. Bueno, el día de hoy, eso sí, a ver el juego de los Texans y de ahí a seguirnos preparando. Okay, so we will now hear from Mr. Jeff Evans, who is the meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service in our area.
Thank you, Judge, and thanks everyone for coming out. So this is the third winter in a row that we've had an infusion of Arctic air. Third year in a row we've had a hard freeze coming in. This is, as the judge said, this is not going to be February 21. There's a lot of anxiety about that when we start talking about hard freeze. It's going to be a repeat. This is not comparable to February 21 in the duration or the magnitude. However, it's still a hard freeze. It's still something we have to be concerned with. This is going to be very similar to just before Christmas of last year, 2022, where we had a couple of mornings where we did have a hard freeze. This is what we're looking at for mainly Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning. We still have a few days, so we still have time to prepare. But the cold front, the first cold front will leak in tonight. Tomorrow we're looking at about 20 degrees cooler. It's going to be highs mostly in the 40s tomorrow, highs mostly in the 30s on Monday with a little bit of light rain. And then the really Arctic air moves in late Monday. For some areas, we'll get below freezing Monday afternoon or Monday evening and won't go above freezing until Wednesday, lunchtime on Wednesday. So we're looking at a pretty decent duration. There may be, on Tuesday afternoon, a couple of hours where we get above freezing, some mid-30s for highs, but that's not going to provide a lot of relief. So it's still going to be a very frigid day, particularly on Tuesday. So it's one thing we need to keep people aware of. There is going to be a little bit of possibility of some light freezing rain on Monday, as I said, there's going to be some showers around Monday. It's going to be in the 30s. When that cold, freezing temperatures come in, there'll be a little bit of an overlap, particularly in the northwest part of the county. We're not expecting a lot of ice impacts. They are treating the roads, but it's something we're going to have to monitor for elevated surfaces and things of that nature. It's also not going to be a good travel day Monday if you're going to try to go to San Antonio, you're going to try to go to Austin or Dallas. Not a good travel day. There's going to be quite a bit of ice between here and there. So I just want to point that out. As I mentioned, now is the time. We talked about, the judge talked about pipes. They talked about pets. This is the time to start thinking about those things. If you can't take care of these things yourselves, especially with a lot of our elderly community, this is the time to reach out and get help. Reach out to your faith communities, your family, your neighbors. Have a couple of days to get over there and help protect your plants and protect your pipes. Have a plan for your pets. We don't want to leave pets out Monday night or Tuesday night. It's just going to be far too cold for them. So we need to think about now what we're going to do with that. School. So Tuesday morning, we're going to looking at wind chills in the low teens and single digits. The same thing we're going to repeat on Wednesday morning, maybe even colder on Wednesday morning with some wind chills and very frigid temperatures. So if you're going to send your kids off to school, make sure they're properly dressed, make sure they have hats and gloves and coats, be very aware of those temperatures because they will be dangerous, especially for children going to bus stops and waiting around. Usually the coldest part of the day is right there around sunrise just after. So that's where a lot of times we're having school pickups and things of that nature. We will be communicating with the ISDs over the next few days about school, so just stay alert to that. We'll be messaging that out as we get closer to it. The good news is by Wednesday afternoon, we'll be done with this. So it's a couple of days that are frigid temperatures, but once we get into Wednesday afternoon, we're looking at highs back in the 40s and then maybe even 60 as we get into Thursday. So that's about all I have for the National Weather Service. Judge.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we'll hear from Chief Christensen.
Thank you, Judge. Harris County Fire Marshal Laurie Christensen. And one of the things that we are really focusing on is the carbon monoxide. As Judge had said, it's not as bad as it was in 21, but we all know now that we are prepared to have these winter events, let's make sure if you're putting your generators out today and you're setting them up, don't put them in the garage. Don't put them anywhere near the eaves of your house. Make sure that the vent is facing out so that it doesn't come back into your house. If you use space heaters, I'm going to strongly recommend go ahead and build that 3-foot safety zone. We like to call it a kid zone or a pet zone. Build a 3-foot area around it. If you're going to be using your fireplace, do that. But carbon monoxide is a silent killer because what happens is when it is released into a closed-in area, you go to sleep and you don't wake back up. Now, what I like to say, we have amazing residents in Harris County, so you are our prevention responders. What I'd like to say you are is this. If you have a Facebook group, if you have a social media group, if you can text your neighbors, check on them. If you know they use space heaters, if you hear a generator running in your neighborhood, please check on them. Let's make sure that if something does go wrong, maybe we can stop it before it happens. Again, as Judge said, we've got these information that we're putting out. I know her team on Ready Harris is putting out information. We want to make sure you make it through. The Texans win, but you make it through this weekend in this cold time safely. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief. And now we'll hear from Chateau Woodward, who's a senior business agent with our local plumbers union.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the invite to be able to speak to you and explain a little bit about what's coming up, what's going on. Great. It's going to be a shorter cold weather event. We still want to treat it as if Uri is coming through, meaning there's two different ways of thinking on this go round. You know, if you go online and you read some of the things that are out there, some people will tell you, let the water drip, let the water drip. Well, some of the things we learned from Uri, some of our contractors told us, and just going out and helping people, a lot of the elderly people, they can't get out there to turn their mains off and stuff like that, so they have to leave that water dripping. But a lot of people who did turn their mains off and turn their water completely off, they fared a lot better. So you have two different ways to do it, since this is not going to be such a long, I guess, winter blast here. You can completely drain it if you're able to, if you can get out there. The main is usually in your yard in a valve box right by your water meter. You can shut that off. Go to the spigots, drain all the water. Go to any plumbing apparatus in your house. Turn it on, drain as much water from it as you can. You want everything, especially out of the risers, but even get as much as you can out of the horizontals. And that will completely drain your water for the most part in your home. If you cannot do that, if you're not able to get out and find your meter, you don't know where your meter is, let that water drip slowly, 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 slow as you can to a trickle in all your sinks, in your bathtubs if you can. No need to do showers. Just as many plumbing apparatuses in your house as you can. As far as the weatherproofing and everything, on the exterior house you have hose bibs. Most people call them water spigots. It is very hard right now to find some plumbing supplies already. You can't get insulation at hardware stores. You can't get duct tape to cover some things. So even during that storm, what we told a lot of people to do is find anything that you can use at home. If you got blankets, if you got sheets, if you got spare clothing, put it around every single plumbing apparatus. I can't stress it enough. Any hose bib you have outside, that for sure should be wrapped, duct taped really, really, really good. Do it all the way around for every spigot you have. Anything that's protruding from the outside of your house need to be covered that carries water. Plain and simple, no ifs, ands, or buts. A lot of things were brought up that nobody mentioned about pier and beam homes. That's homes that sit off the ground. A lot of questions were asked, can you put anything around it to help? Of course, everything you put around the home can help for sure. But if you're able to, try to get down there and cover that piping with something, sheets, towels, blankets, pillows, anything that would shield that cold from penetrating over that long of a time. Everything in your attic also. Get up in your attic, look around, get to know your home, cover everything. If you can't get to the valve outside, usually where the water comes into your home, there's usually another shut-off valve. Know where that valve is, locate where your valves is in case you need somebody to come over and help you out. I'll echo a little bit of statements of what they said earlier. There's a lot of neighbors who you pass by and their stuff's not covered. Actually need help, get on Nextdoor, send a message. This is the time for everybody to come together and help everybody out, especially something as important as this. We have a lot of people that in the last tropical storm winter storm Uri, that they weren't able to get help. Their pipes burst unnecessarily. A lot of people depended on their PEX piping was going to get them through. Believe it or not, PEX piping did burst during the storm. You don't see a lot of reports of it, but there was a lot of PEX that burst during the storm. Now, most of that PEX was under the pier and beam homes or coming up on the side of the homes that they decided, oh, it's good, you shouldn't cover it. Anything that carries water in your home should be covered, plain and simple. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Woodard. We'll take any questions.
ERCOT, I think they expanded the warning from what it really was to Sunday to Wednesday. Did that change any of y'all's preparations?
We were just on the phone with them. I hung up with the gentleman from ERCOT, the chief operating officer, 5 minutes before I got down here. So this is the absolute latest information. But what we all acknowledge is that these are the best predictions. The forecast is not expected to change a whole lot. But we do have to watch those supply and demand charts on ERCOT, and they're watching them as much as we're watching it because, we prepare as best we can, but you just never know what could happen to a particular source of power, or could there be something with the weather that we were not expecting. So that's why we can't have 100% certainty, but the closer we get to the event, the more certain we and they can be about what's going to happen.
Did they give you any indication that they will change their mind in telling people to lower their temperature or not continue to keep their houses at cool?
I would say we're all quite sure that there will be a call for conservation. The reason not to do it right now is because people forget, in a few hours we're all going to be wearing our red and blue and, watching the TV. So we're trying to just give it a little bit more time for when there's going to be the coldest times, which is that Monday night and that Tuesday night and the respective mornings. But at least when we got off the phone with our counterparts at Centerpoint and at ERCOT, we all agree that most likely than not, there is going to be a call for conservation. And again, it doesn't have to be anything too uncomfortable. Just each of us doing a little bit of our part all together will make a big difference.
You all have spoken a lot about carbon monoxide safety. Have you been in communication with the hospitals to see if they are expanding staff or what they have in place in the event we see an influx of people infected?
We're always in charge with our partners. Right now, because we don't expect there to be long-standing power outages, we don't think, even if there were rolling outages, that the situation would be as bad as 2021. But if we get to that, of course, that's when we would bring our hospital liaisons into the emergency center. And I know everybody is very focused on this. Some of our partners mentioned, obviously, it's a holiday weekend, but we're going to be working.
Se espera que los días más fríos sean lunes, martes, inclusive hasta miércoles en la tarde. ¿Eso quiere decir que los colegios podrían estar cerrados también el día miércoles?
El día, estamos evaluando los colegios porque la preocupación de los colegios no es tanto durante el día, sino por la mañana. El martes por la mañana, el miércoles por la mañana. Entonces, sí, podría ser que los colegios cierren el miércoles por la mañana. Eso se decidirá el martes por la tarde. La decisión del martes por la mañana se llevará a cabo el lunes a las 4 de la tarde.
And because you replied in Spanish, for our immigrant population who may be fearful of going to some of those warming facilities or reaching out to help, for help, what do you say to our immigrant communities who may need support right now?
We all help each other. I want to think all the time, but especially during emergencies. And so you'll notice our warming center list varies from some government centers to churches, community churches, and so to a YMCA. You know, it's really the community standing up in service. So I hope that immigrants take us up on the support. Anybody who calls 311, 211, 911, you will not be asked immigration status. Our folks know not to do that. If for some reason you're within your rights not to answer that question. So this is when life safety, it's always first and foremost. Yes?
How many people total can be supported in the warming center?
I don't know the answer to that. Do you have it, Mark? Let me pass it on to Mark.
Each of the centers have a variety of levels, and those are indicated also through the website on their capacity. So they will range, some will have 20, 25, and some can get up to a few hundred. It's all about the space they have and for the convenience of those that need assistance to stay warm during this event. So each center has a different capacity. So yes, the ones in the city can handle 25, 30 people, some are 50. Lakewood Church can handle a lot more, so no problem there with capacity.
And generally, we do look at numbers, who may have the need. The primary population is the homeless population, so that's accounted for location and the size. But part of it is also, if there were to be power outages, and they cannot give us 100% assurance, but ERCOT and CenterPoint are quite confident that any outages would be short term. So that's also helpful and makes the warming centers, the size, the locations, our goal is that they exceed demand, and it may be in a worst case scenario that some people would have to move from one to the other, but I think that's way far down, certainly not the place that we are necessarily concerned about right now.
And lastly, will you be doing updates like this throughout the remainder of as we lead into the actual days?
Yes, if needed, I will. If needed, I will. We'll be watching. Everything is nice and easy. I don't want to bother anybody, and hopefully we'll forget about this right after it happens. So we'll keep you guys posted. And so anyway, I'm gonna leave it right there. Thank you all so much. Go Texans. Take care. I come prepared. Okay.